the picture.
Just real fast. And then we'll get on to it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're good.
All right, we are live.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Jack.
Jake.
All right. So, guess we're okay, right?
Mm-hmm. Before we get going, I have to say I'm not a Stars fan,
No.
but sweet hoodie. Got it
Yeah,
years
it's the
ago.
St. Patrick's Day
Yep.
one.
For my first NHL game I ever went to with mom, it was mom and Kaylee. So it was Chicago at Dallas. So a great game back in the days when Taze and Cam were both in Chicago. So a great game that was. But this is what I bought at the arena that night. And from 6, 7, 8, probably 8, 9 years ago, it still fits me. So I like the color. It's cold outside.
Yeah.
Figured I'd wear it.
It's a nice looking shirt too. All right. So first off, we want to welcome everybody to the Best Boys Sunrise podcast on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. If you're going to join us, you can join us on Facebook Live and you can make comments. We both have our phones going here. We can see the comments as they come along. We like to, of course, thank, as we always do, the Refocused Radio Network with Shemaya Reed. They put our YouTube broadcast on the next day on the Refocused Radio Network, along with Rudy Campos Jr. and Sweep the League, and Shemaya's own I Am Refocused Radio. And there's some new stuff coming out here in 2025 that he's pretty excited about. Some more different content for the Refocused Radio Network. I know Rudy is busy. I saw his show the other night. We got now the college football is done, but he's still got the NFL playoffs, the championship rounds coming up, the NBA, of course, getting into kind of like the same area where the NHL is as far as midway through the season. So check it out on the Refocused Radio Network. And TikTok's back. It was gone for a while, for about a day.
I got rid of mine for a little bit. I might re-download it here, but I haven't really. I don't know. I haven't missed not having it. So I guess for now, I might just be off the TikTok world. But maybe
you'll
I'll
still be able to. You'll still do some post game stuff with the Penguins. I did it on the what was that, Reels on Facebook.
It was a quick 1 minute one.
Yeah, it just doesn't give you enough time. So, but you can find us all over social media. Just basically go search Carson, Barry, Besse, and you'll find us all over social media. Well, as we always do, we start the podcast with the week that was.
I think it's only fair in this case that you started up because I've been waiting all day for this one.
Well, okay, yeah. So this could get nasty, but we will start the Oilers as we speak. They're going into tonight's game, 29-14-3, second in the Pacific. They're 6 up on. They're 6 up on LA, and thanks to the Pittsburgh Penguins the other night, last night, they are only they're 6 up on Vegas, on LA, only 1 back of Vegas.
We got you guys, don't worry.
Yeah, so this past week since we were on last, the Oilers went 2-1. They beat Minnesota, went into Minnesota, and really
that was a good game.
Took care of a very good hockey team in Minnesota, 5-3. And then they went into Colorado and spotted the Avalanche, a 3-goal lead in the first period, and came back all the way back to win.
Two great hockey games in a row. I mean, that game being the Colorado game, being a national game, was a great game. Tons of action back and forth. Definitely such a great TV game. Was a great watch and exciting all around. I mean, both teams were really playing well, despite Edmonton controlling the play for a majority of the game. It was such a great game. And again, those are 2 games back to back that are great playoff matchups you would love to see. That would be must-see TV for sure.
So, and the Oilers did come all the way back thanks to Evan Bouchard scoring late to win 4-3. And then here we go. Saturday night, a rematch of last year's second round between
Oh,
the Edmonton Oilers and Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver. Now, we know from last year's playoffs that there was quite the rivalry that has developed between
those two
Edmonton
teams.
and Vancouver, especially I can't remember what game it was. A game in Edmonton where McDavid got cross-checked in the face and in the back, and it started. Davidov got 1-game suspension.
It was Zadorov that got
Zadorov,
suspended.
sorry,
for that one.
Zadorov. So anyway, so it was pretty chippy affair. Well, this game again, the
Been
Oilers
looking forward to
spotted
this all
Vancouver.
day long.
The Oilers spotted Vancouver 3-0 lead. First period, 2 power play goals and a 5-on-5. And it's like, all right, well, here we go again. They just did this in Colorado. And the Oilers are notorious bad first period teams, but they come
Which
on
I don't
in the last-
understand.
I don't know. I don't get it.
You
either.
don't want to get in that habit where you do that all the time.
No. And so they got down
Mhm.
3-0, and then they came back and scored a couple of goals. Draisaitl had a couple of goals to make it 3-2. And then in the third, as things, go about, goaltending got a little bit better for the Oilers and play got a little bit better, and they started taking to the play. Well, last 2.5 minutes almost, I guess, the Oilers went
Yanked
6-on-5.
Was it Stu in that or that night, or was it Pick?
It was Stu.
Okay.
Yeah. So Stu was in net. So they went 6-on-5.
Yanked
And the
him out.
Oilers pretty much had the play in Vancouver's zone. And, they were trying to score. They were trying to tie the game. And then I want to say with about
It started with probably like 30 seconds left in the game.
probably
Maybe
35 to 40
35,
seconds left in the game. McDavid basically, Wes McCauley, gets mugged by Garland in the in the high slot area. Literally, Garland lands on him, won't let him get up, pushes him down again, won't let him get up. No penalty is called. Nothing is called. McDavid is out of the play.
Yep.
And Garland is just sitting on him, and McDavid's trying to get
Well,
up.
anytime he gets up, he's being pushed right back to the. He can't even get on his skates. He's getting pushed down, and
it's like so.
And the fans obviously are going ballistic and nuts because you've got the best player on the other team getting kept out of the game. And I mean, they're 20 seconds away from winning a hockey game.
Yeah. So what happens with about 3-4 seconds left? McDavid just had enough. And he cross-checked Garland in the face, which, yes, is a cross-checking penalty. I agree with that. 100%. You can't do that. You can't do that in the NHL. But for the love of Pete, there was no penalty called on Garland for what could have been interference. It could have been holding. It could have been something that would have given the Oilers like a 6-on-4 for the most. But nothing was called. What happened to the refereeing? Like on that situation, they keep saying that the NHL is protecting its star players like Crosby and Ovechkin and McDavid and McKinnon and all these star players from that. Where did that happen? That didn't happen.
Well, you look at even the game against when we played John, the Pittsburgh game. McDavid gets, knocked over by Rust. I don't know. I think you probably saw the penalty. That it was before the power outage happened. And watching the game, I didn't like the penalty personally. I thought McDavid just skated right into him. It was like he was standing for a pick,
right? And
McDavid sees him there and he skates right into him, falls over. But yeah, he's a star player. That's going to be called. And I didn't like that call, but it is what it is. He's McDavid. I've seen Sid get those kind of penalties too. But that's getting called, but yet this isn't. And that happens to a fourth liner. That's a penalty. No doubt, because he's out of the play.
It's at least interference. The most it's a holding. But
the minute that McDavid can't get back up on his feet when he tries to, that's a interference right away.
So nothing was called. So the frustration's handled. And then afterwards, Bouchard got cross-checked in the face too. Myers. So what does Wes McCauley do? Wes McCauley calls match penalty on both players, 97 and 57. And then he gives everybody else on the ice a 2-minute minor he didn't even say what for, but everybody else on the ice gets a 2-minute minor. So what happens is
everybody gets off the ice.
Everybody gets off the ice. They put players on Face-off, I think, was in the neutral zone, and Vancouver goes on to win 3-2. All right. You know what? The Oilers shouldn't have given up 3 goals in the 1st period. It was a bad first period, and they shouldn't have had to come back from 3 down. But when you are in that situation where you've got 6-on-5, and you've got it in the zone, and you're controlling the zone, which they did, and then this blatant penalty on McDavid doesn't get called, and then the Oilers wind up losing. If that penalty gets called, the Oilers go 6-on-4, and they have
a greater chance to score
with about 30 seconds left. They have a pretty good shot at scoring, right? So what do you think was going through the referees' minds that they didn't call that penalty, that holding penalty on Garland?
At the heat of the moment, the crowd intensity being so high, the fans are going crazy as the time's going down. They're watching this battle going on. They might see McDavid try to battle back at him to get up. They see that as a neutral battle. Both of them are going at it. Let it go. That's hockey. That's what they think it is, at least. But I mean, many times we've seen this season very questionable officiating, which I will actually get into in my piece of the Penguin stuff. But plenty of calls this season that they call them, and it's like, okay, that's not really a penalty. But then the stuff they miss is like, holy, like, how did you? Yeah. I mean, you can watch a hockey game, and I get it. You don't want it to be a penalty fest. But you watch some of these games and they miss like 6, 7, 8 penalties. And it's like, Jesus, like that completely can turn the tide of a game. But for a team like Edmonton, who can control the zone 6-on-4 or 6-on-5, but the 6-on-4 now, greater chance of scoring probably. Doesn't guarantee that they will, but they definitely have a good chance of it. Now that doesn't discredit Vancouver's goaltender and defending, as they're able to shut that down. But, to not call anything on Garland there, it's ridiculous.
If you call something on Garland, you're going to avoid what happened 15 seconds later.
Yeah. Well, then it ends up really, for the most part, screwing you guys because, okay, I guess I'll kind of just spill the beans even though you're about to say it. McDavid released yesterday, I think it was, 3-game suspension for Connor McDavid for what he did, cross-checking Connor Garland to the face. Tyler Myers in return also gets a 3-game suspension for Vancouver. This greatly hurts the Oilers because now for 3 games they're without their top player in the NHL. And starting tonight, they have the first of those 3 games against the best, arguably probably the best team in the East in Washington.
Yeah.
You know?
So I go back to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. In the end of the game, again, scenario Edmonton 6-on-5. What happened, I didn't like because, but Florida tied the puck up in the corner. Which is a smart move on their part, tying up the puck for 20, 30 seconds or whatever.
Because as long as they're working on it, they'll let the play go.
As long as they're working on it, which is a totally different than when you're holding a player down just so that they won't get.
I mean, that's that Florida move, hockey play. That's a championship winning play because you're not doing anything illegal. They're letting the puck get loose where the ref can see it. And then they're tying it back up. It's perfectly legal. That was such a smart move, but they weren't doing anything dirty like keeping McDavid out of the play. Okay. I don't care if it's McDavid or it's like Connor Brown or Janmark. You can't do that. You can't just hold somebody down on the ice and sit on them and like every time they get up, push them back down. Like you can't do that. That's interference all day.
So it is what it is. McDavid's out for 3 games. So that'll be tonight's game against Washington, and then they have Thursday at home to Vancouver, and then Saturday at home to Buffalo.
Oh God, that Vancouver, that's going to be
it's going to be in Edmonton, so the fans are going to be
all over.
So this Vancouver rivalry with Edmonton may be overlapping.
Oh, I think it just heated up. That might be one of the hottest, if not the hottest rivalry in the NHL because that you might look at that now being like, okay, 1 game out of 82. That's not 1 game out of 82. These teams have a very good chance of seeing each other in April or May. That's going to be a bloodbath of a series. That will remind me honestly of, there's some great rivalries that we've seen in the last 15, 20 years. One of the biggest, even back in the day, Colorado, Detroit.
Yeah.
Bloodbath. Pittsburgh, Philly. Back in those days, you would be lucky to go through a game like that without a fight.
Boston, Montreal, back
like
in the
this
70s.
is stepping up in that territory. There's these defining moments that happen in any rivalry, and this is one of them. Your best player gets kicked for 3 games because he finally had enough of Garland's crap and let him have it.
Yeah. So,
And I mean, was it the best way to handle it? No. He could have handled his frustration. He could have slashed him in the back of the leg, something like that. But I get it. You're frustrated. You have no ability to make any impact in that game because you're literally being tied down to the ice.
Yeah. So
I was waiting for your opinion. Let me ask you this. If you had to ask let's put this in this way, because referees unfortunately don't get asked any questions by reporters, which I think is kind of crazy. If you're a reporter, what would you have asked him on that?
If it was Wes McCauley, and I don't remember who the back referee was, but Wes McCauley was the main guy. If I was a reporter and I'd be asking Wes McCauley, what was your reasoning behind not calling Garland on a holding penalty when he was literally tackling a player to the end? Doesn't matter if it's McDavid, doesn't matter if it's, like you said, Janmark, or if it's, Ekholm. You're tackling somebody, you're not allowing them to get up. That's like, okay, an interference penalty is not letting a person get to a spot. Well, he didn't let McDavid get anywhere. He's laying on him. And McDavid is physically trying to get up. I would have asked McCauley, what was going through your head? Why didn't you call something? Like, it would have given the Oilers 25 seconds with a 6-on-4.
And I hate to say it, but I feel like these referees can sense when something's going to boil, and they want to see it. They want to let it happen because that's what makes it more entertaining. So you see that's happening. McDavid's getting frustrated as time's going on. He's looking up at that clock and he can't even get up.
No.
So it's a stupid thing that happened. It's crazy that it was allowed to go that long. I'm surprised it went that long. That this game against Vancouver is going to be intense. It's going to be intense. It's definitely going to be the game of the day because those fans in Edmonton are going to be so upset. I mean, you're without your best guy.
Right.
And they still keep Garland in the lineup after he did that.
Yeah. So, okay, now you look ahead. All right. So McDavid's out this week, and he was out for a few games, earlier in the season, and the Oilers did pretty well. So what I've seen is Jeff Skinner is going to come up on that line with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. So everything else is going to stay the same. Skinner gets back into the lineup, and I still think Jeff Skinner is trade bait. I think he's going to be gone by the deadline. But so now you get Skinner coming up. Now then, who do you put on the number 1 power play in place of McDavid? I think you go with Adam Henrique, maybe a guy who can. You're going to have to change your mindset a little bit about who gets the puck more. Draisaitl's going to get the puck more.
I think that's a good. I need a guy that you can get by the net mouth who can just kind of facilitate the play. I think that's going to be the person you're going to pick.
You could get Corey Perry in there. He's good at being in front. But then you've got Hyman and
2 righties.
Perry.
Yeah. So I don't like the whole situation. I really don't. I mean, they shouldn't be without McDavid.
But anyway, so that's what it looks like. The lineup is going to be starting tonight. So I said before, Jeff Skinner, I think, he's been a healthy scratch. I think he's just going to be gone. It just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And that's what happens with guys like, he had great seasons in Buffalo, but
he 40 goal scorer.
So the Oilers picked up John Klingberg, who signs with the Oilers, had double hip surgery. Last time he played a hockey game in the NHL was November the 11th, 2023 for Toronto. Now he has played 633 games, 412 points, 81 goals, 331 assists. So who is out, do you think? It's either between Stetcher or Emerson.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that move. I feel like he's past his prime. I think he was such a great guy, such a great player back when he was with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those days are gone. I don't think this is going to last very long.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But now, when you take a look at the Oilers and you take a look at the league, is Leon Draisaitl a step ahead of Connor McDavid in MVP? This season. Like it's hard to think about Connor McDavid not being an MVP, but Draisaitl has kind of taken over a little bit.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, like I just like I like Draisaitl's game. He's tough on the puck. He makes plays. You're blessed to have two of the best players in the league, anyways. But I wanted to get your opinion on that. I kind of mentioned what was coming up.
I personally still stick with Hellebuck's going to get it, but
yeah,
you never know.
I went with what was coming up tonight. Washington tonight, Thursday, Vancouver, Saturday, Buffalo, and then Monday at home. All games at home to Seattle. So now the Pittsburgh Penguins and how their week went.
You know what? This week they played 4 very good hockey games. I was pretty impressed with the effort they had this week. They went 2-2, and so could be better, but definitely could be worse. Just they started out Tuesday in Seattle, way outplaying them, and just couldn't get it done. Tristan Jarry, man, I'm telling you, he just can't do it. It's just no matter what, he just cannot make it. He can't make a stinking save anywhere. It sucks. He started the game because we didn't watch the beginning of the game because we were here. First shot of the game, goal, and it's an easy save for him. It's a 2-on-1 shorthanded break from Seattle, but it's Stevenson coming down the slot, and he shoots it. It literally goes into his midsection and it goes in the net. It's like, okay, like whatever. Then the Penguins score 2 goals to take the lead. And then in the third period, in the matter of like a minute or two, Seattle scores 2 quick ones and then gets an empty netter. This game, in my opinion, based upon what I'll say in a minute, goes on to be Tristan Jarry's last game for Pittsburgh and last game this season in general. I think this is it. He's proven over and over again he just isn't that guy. I think it was 22 games or maybe more that he had played. 17 out of those 22 games, first 5 shots, one of them went in on him. But it's sad because, going on like Instagram, TikTok, there are people making compilations just from this season alone of like 2 or 3 minute long videos of him letting in the first shot of the game. And every time he does it, he looks like so confused, like he doesn't know why. It's like, dude. So after that game, the Penguins made a statement move and waived him on Wednesday. He didn't get claimed, which I'm kind of surprised, but he didn't get claimed. So he's sent down to Wilkes-Barre now. And for Blomqvist to come up in his place. I'm done with him. You pay him $5 million a year and he can't save any. He can't do it. It's ridiculous. And, sometimes the defense puts him in bad spots, but you're paid the big bucks to make the saves. And he's never does it. But they take him down and they have a couple days break before they head to Buffalo Friday to start their season-long 7-game road trip. And they beat Buffalo 5-2. Great game. They got outshot by a 2-1 margin, but they made all their shots count. They scored 5 goals. Nedeljkovic was in net. He's going to be the starter from here on out, I feel like. But it was just a great game from this team. 3 power play goals. So this team is top 5 in the power play, which is great. I'm loving that part of it. I feel like every game they pretty much score. And last season I was begging them to score like once every 6 games. Some history is made in this game.
Yeah. And
probably, arguably, could be the best goalie game in NHL history. For the second straight season, the Penguins have a goalie who scores a goal. Alex Nedeljkovic records his first NHL goal, being the 19th goalie in NHL history to record a goal. Crazy moment. It was actually like a great shot. It was a wraparound around the boards, and he just corralled that on his backhand and took it.
He got hit
afterwards, and it was like in the middle of the net.
Yeah,
crazy. It was a pretty cool photo taken when this moment was happening, as Sid was actually skating down center ice, and as soon as he saw it was going to go in, you see him looking back, tapping his stick because he's loving the moment. And pretty cool too that Ned, so excited in the moment, scores, and he just starts sprinting over to the bench and jumps right into the bench with everybody, and he's getting mobbed by his teammates, and he even goes down the line for the fist bump. Really cool. He deserves it. He also recorded an assist. He becomes the first goalie in NHL history to record a goal and an assist in a game. And Interesting fact as well, first goalie ever in NHL history to record a goal in all 3 levels of the pro American leagues.
Yeah.
He had 1 goal in the ECHL, 2 goals in the AHL, and now his first NHL goal. But yeah, arguably could be the best goalie game ever. I was super excited. I was out watching this at work. First 2 periods I was at my desk, and then the third period is actually at the work gym on the treadmill walking, and I had to do the fist pump when I saw that one going because I was super excited.
Cool.
Definitely had to rewatch that a few times. But shout out as well to the Penguins play-by-play, Josh Getzoff. Did you listen to that call, that goal? Electric call. He was super excited. But great game from this team. But they had a lot of work to do as they had to head to the nation's capital to play the Caps on Saturday. And unfortunately, you got beat 4-1. A game where Washington really did control a lot of the play. The Penguins, in my opinion, didn't play horrible. Coming off of a back-to-back, and Washington had a couple days break. But still, you got to win all these games if you can. The Penguins got down 2-0 after 2. Came back and scored 1 in the third, but took a late penalty. Washington scores about 2 minutes left in the power play and gets an empty netter. One of those games is just going to happen. They didn't play horrible, but they didn't definitely shoot that puck that much. They were hesitating on a lot of shots, and that seemed to really be a problem. Also, a lot of shots were getting blocked. Washington, to their credit, great shot blocking team. Logan Thompson as well, on fire. I think he went into that game and he had 2 shutouts in those last 3 games. He had only allowed 1 goal in 3 games. He stopped at like 88 out of 90 shots or something. It was crazy after the Penguins scored their first. But you know what? Wasn't disappointed with that effort. They played okay and just doesn't work out sometimes. Then they head to one of probably the toughest game of the week, in my opinion, against the LA Kings for multiple reasons. Number one, LA's first game back at home since the wildfires began. So you knew it was going to be an emotional night there at Crypto.com Arena. The Kings were wanting to impress their fans and get them back up on their feet, give them something to cheer for. Great gestures by both teams, wearing LAFD hats during warmups and having patches on their jerseys and helmets. But the Penguins, despite the emotions, came into this game and did what they needed to do. They took care of business and played the best game all season. I know you were pretty much asleep but the best game all season, and it was well worth staying up till 9:30 for the start time. They were just all over the Kings, all over them from start to finish. And I haven't seen them do that this season, where they played the whole 60. It makes you look at it like, why can't they just do that?
Yeah.
But you know what? These games mean a lot, and that's why it's exciting to see them play well like this. Lots of great games from a lot of people. Ned was in net. He played great. He only allowed 1 goal in this game. It was a 5-on-3 power play goal from the Kings. Penguins power play continues to roll. They score 1 on their only opportunity of the game. Kevin Hayes got that. Sid, beautiful deflection goal. Gino finally got on the score sheet again, which is cool. He was super hyped up when he scored that one. Cody Glass, too, another guy that's really been playing really well. His dividends are finally starting to pay off as he's now got 2 goals in the last 3 games. He's been just all over the ice. Not really as impactful on the score sheet as I might like, but you notice him when he's there. Another guy, too, that really impressed me was Tomasino. Great backhand assist on the Gino goal, but that third line of Hayes, Tomasino, and O'Connor played so good last night. They were just all over it, the Kings. And when the Kings scored their first goal, something we've seen the Penguins do in recent memory is just back off, and let them do. They didn't. Kings scored. They had maybe one more good shift to close out their 5-on-4 power play. Penguins get right back on their horse and score.
Yeah.
And they just completely shut the energy.
Yeah.
At the end of the second, with about a minute and a half left, you score to go up 3 again. Just really good. And they didn't take their foot off the gas. Even after 5-1, they were still putting pucks on the net and controlling the zone.
Yeah.
I loved it. Penguins record as of this point, 20-21-8. So not exactly where you'd want it to be, but so many games left in the season. If they just continue to do this, they'll be all right. They're playing, if they can play inspired hockey and close out this road trip really strong, it's going to be good. It came at the right time for this team to have a road trip because they were just struggling. I mean, they'd only won 1 of their first 9 games of the year. Just to get away and bond with the team, away from home for a while it's hard being away from your family, it inspires the team. And, you look at moments. I know the chances aren't good for the Penguins right now, but they were in the same place last year and they nearly made it. So I'm not giving up. You look at moments like Ned's goal. That inspires the team. that you can tell they just play so much different when he's there. They're confident. The energy's different in the room. They're excited. Even Blomqvist, he's a great goalie. He's learning. He's coming into his own. But the Penguins have a very favorable schedule the rest of this road trip, and even back to when they get home. So they have a lot of work to do. But if they can close out this little home stretch before the Four Nations, they can be right in the thick of it again. They're really not that far behind.
Yeah.
These teams still got to play their games, and they might not win them. You never know. But to close out this week, the Penguins play again Thursday night in Anaheim against the Ducks. And then they head to Seattle to play Kraken again, early afternoon game at 3. And then they head back to San Jose on Monday night to play the Sharks. So a couple late night games. And then after that, they go actually to first visit to Utah. And that's a national game, a TNT game at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock on Wednesday. And then after that, they head back home to play Nashville. So very favorable schedule for the Penguins. I'm really crossing my fingers that they just continue to play the way they did against the Kings, because in my opinion, if they do, they will be on the right side of this a lot of the way. And winning even 4 out of the next 5, it gives you 20 games left or 30 games left in the season, and you've got 8 out of 10 points in your pocket. Yeah. Again, banking on these teams that still can lose their games. You never know. Yeah. So I'm pretty optimistic. I'm definitely just seeing a different energy with Ned there versus Jari. You can tell they're it's just the Oilers had the same thing with Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was coming in from Toronto, and he was supposed to be the next big thing, and he never did. And he wound up, down in the AHL in Bakersfield. They know just no matter how good they play. I mean, I watched it against the Tampa game. After 2 periods in that game, Penguins were up 25-9 in shots and were down 2-1.
Yeah.
So those kind of things.
It's just sometimes the goaltenders just aren't a good fit in where they're
despite his inconsistencies at points, I feel like Ned is the perfect guy for this team.
Yeah.
I really do. I like his energy. His personality is more of a happy-go-lucky. He's just happy to be there and playing. I think he's just the perfect guy for this team. Despite that, I don't think he's a top tier at all. But
not yet.
But I mean, they have Blomqvist. He could get a lot better. Depending what this could be a good 1A, 1B tandem.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? For what he's done for most of the season, Ned plays like this. The Penguins win a lot of these games because they've been scoring a lot more goals. And the lineup, despite the record being not that great, I feel like this year's lineup is a lot deeper, playing a lot better. But there's going to definitely be some shaking up, though. I already know Dubas is working. And, I mean, if they can get guys that are ready to go now, there's a few select guys I still would like to see stay. Hayes, I really like him a lot. I'm hoping that they keep him around. He's been playing really well, and I think good mentor for the younger guys. Glass and Tomasino, keep them around for sure. Bunting, obviously Gino, Sid. I'd like Raquel to stay. Rusty's going to stay, but Raquel for sure I want him to stay. He's that goal scorer that Sid needs on his wing. But there's going to be some shaking up here, but this team still has a very good chance. They just got to take it one game at a time and not get too ahead of themselves, but not too bad.
Just a couple other things around the NHL. Speaking of Washington and Edmonton tonight, Ovi is 21 goals away from Gretzky's record. He actually went through the Oilers Hall of Fame today and tried on Gretzky's gloves and stick that Gretzky used in the 80s. Pretty cool moment, because here's a guy who's chasing Gretzky's record, wearing the gloves and using this and holding the stick that Gretzky used for so many of those points and goals that he's chasing. It's a pretty cool moment.
Let me ask you this regarding tonight's game. How do you think the Oilers are going to come out after everything that's happened?
I think the Oilers will come out of this game kind of the way they did when McDavid got hurt. It's kind of like, okay, you know what? Our number one guy is out. All right. Who's the next guy up? All right. Who's next man up? We know the Draisaitl line is going to be solid. That's Arvidsson and Podkolznik. They're going to be solid. We know that. All right. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has to take – he's the most senior guy on the team. He's got to take that leadership role and take that first line, which maybe technically could be a second line. But he's got to take that. He's got to take Jeff Skinner. And Hyman has got to start. And I think he's still being bothered by wearing the complete bubble.
That's not easy.
For being sick. But it's what I think you need to watch out for is how line 3 and 4 continue to pick things up, because it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of grinding out games the next 3 games without McDavid.
This one I think is the toughest one out of them all.
Oh, this is the
way
toughest
Washington plays right now. It's not. I wouldn't even call it boring. They're just so defensively, like they're able to block the shot every time, and you can't be too cute.
No, I think this is an opportunity. Okay, we know what McDavid does with his skill and skating with the puck in and out, causing guys to lose their balance. But now it's going to be more like a shoot, because we gotta get the pucks at the net.
And the Washington goaltenders have been on fire, so you got to get all the shots you can.
And the defense in the next few games is going to have to tighten up even more. Goaltending is going to have to be good. Even though Stu has let in some goals and picks to let in some goals early in the game, if they can control that, they still I still think they've got a really good shot at in the next 3 games at least getting 4, maybe 5 points out of it. But it all depends, it all depends on how they come out. And I think they're going to come out very upset that what went down in Vancouver went down. And when you're playing without your top guy, you've got to play a little bit differently. You've got to have it. We don't have McDavid. We got to come up with a different way of playing. And it's going to be grind out. It's going to be grind out games. The Four Nations is coming up, and everybody's talking Canada, United States, right? Canada, United States. But that Finland, Sweden, I was reading an article today. Finland and Sweden don't like each other. The players that are going to be playing against each other on those 2 teams don't like each other.
Yep.
So that's going to be something like that's going to be don't just push that Finland Sweden game aside, because that's going to be a good game too, because they don't like each other.
No.
And everybody's the marquee. Everybody is Canada, United States, but I'm looking forward to that for Sweden Finnish game.
It's going to be an interesting tournament. I'm excited. About 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
from it.
Something like that. 2-3 weeks away.
I'm just interested to see how the teams respond when they get back to it. It's a 2-week break. Which teams are going to come back on the flying and which teams are going to come back not very.
Yeah. And the only thing I saw was, unfortunately, the Ducks, Brock McGinn out for the season with a torn ACL. That's always tough, because you think about players in every sport with a torn ACL, and do you really 100% come back from that?
No.
That's going to be a tough one.
This is just unfortunate. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but how do you come back from that? I mean, you're never the same. You're never fully the same.
And because then, you're tentative a little bit, I think.
You're scared, yeah, and rightfully so.
But we wish him all the best of luck in his recovery, and you never want to see anybody. I don't care if it's a top tier player or if it's
these are still National Hockey League guys.
These
are their lives are affected because of that. I mean, they can't be the same. Now, do you have anything else before I ask you this? I just want to get your final thoughts on everything that transpired. Any last words you want to say on the incident?
In Vancouver?
Fateful incident in Vancouver, British Columbia.
What's done is done. You can't go back and you can't call a penalty after you didn't call a penalty. You can't review for a penalty. It was definitely a missed call, and you're right. The referees have missed a lot of calls, made some bad calls. Then they get some calls that are questionable, and they call them, and then something like that doesn't happen. It not only costs the Oilers a chance of tying that game. Who knows? Like, you're right. Who knows if they would have scored 6-on-4? But you can't not let something like that. I can understand the 2 players going down,
and they're just both battling.
They're both battling, trying to get back up, and they get back up. But Garland put him down 3 times, and they didn't call a penalty. And then, so yeah, you know what? If I'm Connor McDavid, or if I'm Corey Perry, or if I'm Brian Rust, I'm going to get upset because you're preventing me from doing my job. So the first reaction wasn't the greatest by Connor, but how many times has McDavid been cross-checked because, he's the best guy. He's the best player. Wes McCauley has never been my favorite referee ever.
5 minutes for fighting.
I think he's more about his
showmanship.
his showmanship. It's done. The Oilers are without McDavid for 3 games. Let's see what happens.
And Vancouver is just back there like,
But you know what, Vancouver, you're like 10 points behind the Oilers in the
I
race
hate to
right
say
now.
it. I really hate to say it because I'm not saying I want them to get him hurt, not at all. But I would love in that game if they just have someone like, okay, Corey Perry or Ekholm just lights him up, like just clean, like body check,
it.
just get him like,
Just get him in the corner and clean check him.
even like a fight.
Yeah,
you know what, like
Oh,
you think you're all that.
You want to have somebody go out and give somebody a hard time in a fight. Podkolzin, he'll knock when he was in that Nashville game, he knocked his head off. You want to get a guy like that? Corey Perry.
Well, that's his whole team.
Yeah, Corey Perry is going to be a little maybe in a headhunting mode.
I know.
We could see that's going to be a very chippy
no. I
game
think. I mean, I'm just not a fan of the way that's done. I would like to see something done about that, whether it's a big hit or a fight. I definitely don't want him to get hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he deserves some retribution for that because that's just ridiculous.
You got to show him. You like what if?
Well, even then, like, what is Myers cross-checking Bouchard for?
Yeah, like why is he doing? Okay, what if you turn the tables? What if Jack Hughes got the same treatment that
Jack Hughes is in New Jersey,
or
Quentin Hughes.
Quentin Hughes got the same treatment.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't like that.
They wouldn't like that at all. So
I think that's just a nasty playoff series. I hope it happened, but I think that's just retribution coming for him. Someone's going to fight him or get him big.
Yeah, he better watch out on Thursday. Like, you're not headhunting.
Oh, those fans are going to be.
It's going to be
him whenever he touches them. That's a franchise too. It's got a lot of discourse and noise going around it.
Yeah,
obviously,
but JT
Miller's like a hair away from being traded. There's other noise going around that like Höglander's going to be out. Possibly Brock Besser could be on the move. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of discourse, and really Vancouver's been struggling. I mean, they're in the picture, but they're struggling.
But it's funny because they were the Pacific Division champions last year. I went a good 7-game series against the Oilers, and now they've fallen totally apart.
I told you that. What did I tell you last year about Vancouver? I didn't. I just thought they were maybe like a one-hit wonder because, I mean, this was the same roster that was like way at the bottom of the league, and within a year, they were all the way at the top. And it's like that just doesn't.
It's.
I just don't like when stuff like that because you take obviously okay, they're going to give it to him. He's the best player in the league. They're going to try to keep him out of the game, but I mean, you're influencing not only that game but the next 3. I would hope the Oilers win some of these games, but if they lose all 3, outcomes can be totally different with McDavid there. So I definitely.
Yeah, I think it was just if they would have called the penalty on Garland early, this would never have happened. The stuff at the end would never.
When you were watching
that,
when you were watching it, when you were just seeing that go down, what were you even like?
I was thinking, why isn't they calling anything? Like it's like I'm looking at him and it's like they're wrestling. He's wrestling him down, and no whistle, no hand up in the air, nothing. Yeah. It's like I couldn't believe it, and then 4 seconds later, all this stuff happens, and it's like. Well, no wonder he got upset.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even watch.
It's kind of like you're sitting there as a hockey fan, and more specifically an Oiler fan, going, "You didn't even give them a shot. Like you have them tackle the best player on the ice. Well, yeah, they're going to be upset. But anyways,
I'm interested to see how tonight goes, how Vancouver game goes.
Yeah. Well, just see, it's a next man up. It's like next 3 games.
They're going to definitely play upset.
They're going to be. Pardon my expression. They're going to be pissed off, and that's a scary thing when the Oilers are pissed off.
Yep.
We'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Beth and Arden joined us tonight. We'd love for you to join us every Tuesday night, 5:45 Central Time here on the Best Sports Center Ice podcast. You can find Carson and myself on Facebook. Just check our last name, Besse. YouTube channel, Best Sports Center Ice podcast. It's going to be up on the Refocused Radio Network tomorrow, along with Spreaker on Spreaker.com tomorrow. It'll be available here on Facebook in just a little bit to rewatch. TikTok, well, I'm going to be continuing to do some TikTok stuff. We may figure out a different way of doing post-game stuff on a different platform. But We really enjoy doing this. We love this game so much that we could sit here for hours talking about this. And I knew
Just wait
tonight
till the
was going to
playoffs
be
when we have our watch party nights.
Yeah, it's going to be something else. We're gonna try that. Where we're watching a game and we're streaming, but we're doing play by play. It's going to be fun. We love doing this. I love doing this with my son. Not too many guys can say that they do a podcast with their son, and I'm this guy's the best in the business, the best hockey analyst I've ever. And I've been watching hockey since I was a kid, and this is the best analyst I've ever.
PK, give me a call. I'll work with you guys. Come on, PK.
Come on, PK and Mark Miss. Yeah. All right. So everybody, thank you very much. Check us out, the Refocused Radio Network. In the meantime, and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night. Carson loves when I say that.